New on Curiosity Stream. How do you connect a 16th century potato to limitless energy production? Could Napoleon's toothpick have a direct link to a machine that predicts the future? And how can a 1700s conch shell chart a course to humans connecting their brains to the internet? James Burke's visionary series Connections returns for a new generation. Experience all new Connections. With monthly, annual, and bundled plans, find the one that works for you at curiositystream.com.
In times of old, in times of new, there's a guide to follow to make it true. It's the pop culture field, named it well.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Pop Culture Field Manual podcast, sitting right at the intersection of weapons, action, the military, and of course, pop culture. I'm your host, Cameron Fath, and with me, as always, is my good friend
Israel Wright.
Thank you for coming.
Thanks for coming to my apartment.
Thanks for coming to this podcast. Well, anyways, we have a very special episode for you guys today. I'm very excited for this one just because it deals with one of my favorite subjects.
Death.
Yeah. Well, that came out wrong, huh?
I know you so well.
I know, you know.
That came out exactly right, Cameron.
It came out exactly right. It came out exactly the way I meant it to. And in this episode, we're focused on literally talking about some of our favorite on-screen deaths.
Creative ways to die.
Creative
exciting
ways to die. I mean, you can die anyway. Dude,
Yeah,
you've heard me say it 1,000 times. Humans are the weakest people.
We're so fragile.
We're so fragile. You know, we're not like animals. We can't like go to a puddle and like, oh, this looks drinkable and drink it. If we do that, we would die.
Then that's when the alligator comes out and snaps our head off.
Snaps his head off. Like, we can't run faster than a cheetah. Like,
no,
we don't.
That's why we have to live in boxes and like have air conditioning blowing on us.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, humans are so disappointing, and I am one. But it's
self-hating.
It's bad, man.
You never know. You could get like a pipe thrown through your chest and with steam coming out at the end, you know, with some guy. Have you know what? You have the worst way to die, to die, and then as you die, you hear the guy that kills you throw some gnarly quip. Some one-liner, and then they're like, no, it's so cheesy.
Oh, man. And you're doing a little foreshadowing, I see. What's going on here? Do you remember that show that used to be on Spike? Thousand Ways to Die?
I had a friend who was on that.
Like, he died?
No, he didn't know. That's good distinction. Good distinction. She was the actress who did the reenactment of a girl. She gets the bends. She has to go into the chamber and to like decompress, you know, and then the decompression chamber malfunctions and she basically explodes.
Oh,
that was how this person died. My friend was the actress who did the reenactment. So
what an honor!
Did you hear about the two Japanese people that had?
Is this a joke?
No, this is like literally.
This
is two Japanese people walking to a bar.
Yeah.
But they're a couple and they're married and they've never had sex because they're so nervous. Mm-hmm. They always get nervous with it. So one night they get drunk, they gonna get going, and they both have heart attacks and die.
Oh my god!
Mid coitus, that was the weirdest way to like. Man, I was like, wow, what a way to go, huh?
Been there.
Title of the podcast. You have not. You're sitting right here.
Oh man!
Unless it was the other person that died.
Full recovery. But hey man, I want to jump right into this.
Let's do it, man. Let's do it.
There's so many that we can talk about, and there's so many that I want to talk about.
It's amazing the creativity in Hollywood about how to kill somebody. You know,
and I'm sure not a lot of thought goes into it. Like, you look around, you see, like, imagine me walking to like a Starbucks. I'm a screenwriter. It's summer and I'm wearing my summer scarf.
Uh-huh.
And I have my Starbucks coffee and I'm walking down the street with my dog.
Your quill pen.
You know, I hear a jackhammer in the distance and I'm like, construction site, Final Destination. I'm writing Final Destination.
You go to the eye doctor to get a laser eye surgery.
Exactly. I pass the optometrist and I see somebody looking into one of those giant eyeball,
laser eye things. Yep.
And the laser's too strong and singes a hole. Or the jackhammer, going back to that, the roof is too thin and the jackhammer goes right through it and there's a man on the bottom and just gets impaled. Look at that.
It writes itself.
It writes it exactly. And one thing that we have to talk about, as you kind of mentioned in the beginning, John Matrix kills Bennett in Commando.
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Classic 80s action movie.
Exactly. Chainmail vests.
Yeah.
I'm surprised Dog the Bounty Hunter didn't have one in his in his wardrobe. I was rewatching those, and that dude's style is nuts. He wears this fishnet like vest thing with leather tassels around.
And
his
he's got
arms.
the fingerless gloves.
Yeah, he's got the fingerless gloves.
Gonna kill you, Joe Matrix.
Yeah,
he's Australian, which is awesome.
Bennett is crazy, and I rewatched this scene and I rewatched this scene, and he first of all, the amount of force. Excuse me, I had a burpee. But the amount of force that it takes to rip the pipe off the wall in the beginning is ludicrous. And then the fact that he's wearing chainmail.
Right.
He's wearing chainmail, and that's the literally sole purpose of chainmail.
Not to mention rib cage, heart, spine.
Yeah, the purpose of chainmail is to stop impalement. That's literally what it's meant for.
Not for Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Not for Arnie.
Not for John Matrix.
And he just throws this pipe right through the guy, sticks him to the wall, and all the steam comes out. That's a clean impalement.
Yeah, yep. Yeah, because it even gets rid of the chunk inside that would have been made, like
Exactly.
sucking up the last bit of strawberry in your shake.
Yeah,
your
I'm
smoothie.
surprised in thinking about it now that you brought that up, that when he impales him with this pipe, the part of flesh that's in the pipe and the steam comes out doesn't just smack him in the face, because it comes out like a spitball. You think about it and he just gets hit with some Bennett flesh, some Bennett meat, and he's just like, damn. And that could be a new one-liner instead of him saying, "Let off some steam, Bennett."
That's so good, man.
It's classic.
It's a classic 80s. They got Arnold Schwarzenegger he was king of the one-liners.
He
was. Wait, what is it? Well, let's go through a couple just real quick. Predator. He busts into the door and he goes knock knock and blasts the guy, and then there's the knife. He turns around.
He throws the knife, says stick around.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
The running man. Here lies Sub-Zero, now Plane Zero, or Buzzsaw, the guy with the chainsaw, he tries to stick him, and he's like, no, you keep it, and he cuts him in half,
They're great.
Dude.
I mean, I wonder, does he write them himself, or does he approve them? You think he gets 5?
5 options?
The Simpsons, when he puts out the 3 in the movie, he puts out the 3 options.
In Radioactive Man?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, do you want, he's like, okay, you can read these. He's like, number 3. And he's like, don't you want to read him? He's like, I'm elected to lead, not to read. Number 3. And that's the one-liner he does. But if you want to talk about Arnie some more, I put one on this list that was also an epic death in movie, which is from the original Total Recall.
Yes.
When they're, fighting, he's fighting the bad guy, and the bad guy gets sucked out.
Yep.
He gets sucked out into Mars, and all of a sudden you just see the classic 80s effects going on. He's like,
yeah, it's animatronic, because the decompression, no atmosphere kind of thing. Yeah,
they do a lot of
a horrible way to
FX stuff in that movie.
As
far as just when he's doing the face, the mask face thing.
It was like a mask within a mask.
Yeah,
when he takes it off.
Yeah, that entire movie is bonkers.
Yeah,
I
so
don't know
that's Paul Verhoeven, a fan. I'm sure he's a fan of the show. We are fans of his. We've spoken of his movies often. Starship Troopers, Total Recall.
Oh, they did the same thing?
Yeah,
Did he do the remake as well? Because the remake I didn't like.
No, I don't think he had anything to do with the remake.
And
the
that lady
Colin
with
Farrell
3
one.
boobs is in that movie
three-boob
too.
lady,
3
yeah.
boobie. That was the first pair of... not pair.
Triple boobs?
That was the first
tri-boob
I've ever seen. Good on her.
I don't think they ever did that again. I think that was a one and done.
That's lame.
What's another one? What's some more deaths that you're a fan of?
Oh man,
You worshiper of death. You're like a pagan. You're like a Viking.
Pagan.
Well, I mean, I try to go over like iconic deaths. And Rambo: First Blood Part 2, 1980, another 80s action movie. There's a ton of them there, but he's going through the woods and he's got the exploding arrow tips.
Yeah.
And he's got I remember
General
it's like
issue.
Yeah, exactly. Standard issue for Green Berets in Vietnam,
Exploding arrow tips.
Yeah, but the guy's shoots at him and he runs out of bullets and he's reloading and he takes his time. He takes forever to draw it back and he fires the explosion. The guy just explodes. There must have been 5 pounds of C4 on that arrow tip, it's so creative, and so just the bonkers, the machismo, the must what crazy thing can we do that's would never work in real life,
I would never work in real. You don't know that though.
You're right.
You don't know that.
I don't have much experience
Arrows
with
have
exploding
been
arrows.
killing people for centuries.
Centuries. The millennia.
Millennia. Since the dawn of their invention. I gotta cut you off of your mental thought. That's what I gotta do.
Go ahead.
I wrote down one, because remember, I remember you saying, and by remembering, like 20 seconds ago, you said you picked the most iconic ones. I just picked things that I think are fucking cool.
Well, yeah,
So-
that's iconic to you. That's what
Yeah,
I think, like creative, weird kind of stuff that you remember. You
Uh-huh.
know, we've seen so many war movies, watched so many movies. We've watched probably thousands of people die
Exactly. And
in
what's,
movie time.
what's the main culprit? Getting shot, getting stabbed,
Yeah.
falling,
Blown up.
blown up.
Yeah, drowned.
But what's one unconventional deaths? What about a pencil?
I know exactly where you're going with this.
Are you? It's not John Wick.
Oh, I know.
Okay. The Dark Knight.
Yes.
Joker.
Yeah.
When he first introduced, he's like,
Yeah. I thought my jokes were bad.
Yeah, yeah. First of all, that movie is timeless, and the Heath Ledger does such a good job.
Dude, yeah.
Such a good job. Probably the best acting I've ever seen in my life.
Iconic and very sad, you know.
It's
like,
very
that was, like,
sad.
the last thing
That's
he-
literally the role that, drove him mad. But anyways, I would love to see Shia LaBeouf as a Joker.
No, we want to keep Shia around. We don't want him to go insane. Any more insane.
He's
than
already
him.
insane.
Already is, you know?
He got Creeper tattooed on him for his role in what's that, Debt Collector or something like that?
Oh, yeah, where he plays, kind of a bit of a cholo
He
type
plays a cholo.
Yeah.
Yeah, and his name is Creeper, and he
Yep.
actually got Creeper tattooed on his tummy. It's awesome.
He's got a lot of time
Yeah,
to
Shia LaBeouf
regret that
actually-
decision.
He dies really fast in that movie.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Like halfway through the movie, he's not the main character. I thought he was.
Oh, my God.
And he dies pretty brutally. He gets like curb stomped to death.
Damn.
But anyways, the pencil, right? Heath Ledger, he comes in, he's like, I'm gonna make this pencil disappear. And he's like, he's like, bag this guy up, that gang boss. And he comes over and he grabs him by the head and just smashes his face onto the pencil, impales him, and it's gone.
Yep.
And he's like, see? Gone. I thought when I remember seeing that scene in the theater and I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
That was gnarly.
Yeah.
I was like, that's cool.
Brutal and quick. It happens so quick you almost
you don't know
like
what
you
happened.
don't have time to process it.
Uh-huh.
And then it's like, wow, that was
I don't even know how they pulled that off.
I mean, just CG, probably just a CG.
You think it's a
pencil.
CG
Yeah,
pencil?
I mean, that seems like a pretty easy thing to do.
Okay.
You know.
I'm not
Gets a good
I'm
stunt
not
man.
learned up on that. But I thought
Computers can do
that was
anything.
brutal. Could you imagine like seeing someone just murdered by a pen? I know they Menzel because I said I would try to combine mention and pencil, so I came up with Menzel.
I like it. It's a
But
new word.
yeah, they mentioned like the pencil in John Wick, and he's like, a fucking pencil.
Yeah. Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like,
When we talk about
"I've
how
seen a
awesome
man
he is.
Kill 3 men with a pencil. Pencil. Baba Yaga.
Yeah.
But,
Baba Yaga.
But the Dark Knight, the Joker has some gnarly kills in there. I think that's a cool character. That's someone I aspire to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about touching deaths? Because I got a couple here that I'd like to mention.
Touching ones.
Here's what I'll say, because I know you're familiar with this series, video game series, Gears of War.
Yes.
I have not actually ever played these, but I've watched scenes from it, and I've actually watched the scene where Dom dies in Gears of War 3. Afro-Dom, yeah. And I was touched by it. It's really well done and like well paced out. And,
It is.
I didn't even have like the background of playing through all the video games. But like what happened? Like, can you remember the moment when that happened when you were like playing through?
I was in, it was junior year of high school when it came out. I used to have a TV in my room. My mom let me have a TV in my room, and I always watched Skinamax on it. And I would jump back and forth between that and Bill Cosby because anytime my mom walked in, I'd switch the channel. But anyways, that's going off topic. But
Sorry, real quick. Does that mean that your mom would walk in and it looked like you were jerking off to Bill Cosby?
my dick would never be in my hand.
Sorry.
It's okay.
That's just what, I just picture
Get
you
out,
switching
Mom!
back, but like in the switching back, you forget what you're doing,
I
and then she
forgot.
walks in, she's like,
One
"Oh
hand-
my god!"
One hand has the remote. One hand is just schlong in hand, and I just forget to let go of one of them.
That's
an astute
It's a lot of moving pieces.
Thank you for that, Cameron.
You're welcome. But anyways, I was playing because I remember I had a TV and I had a loft style bed and a couch underneath. So I'd sit on the couch underneath and I'd play my video games. When I wanted to go to bed, I would sleep up top.
Nice.
But I'm just painting a picture of my old room.
Paint the picture.
Exactly. But yeah, I was playing and I remember I bawled like a little bitch when it happened because I love the storyline's so good. And it's like, even when it's happening, he's like driving that giant truck and he's like, I'm going to save all these people. And you can tell, and then throughout the campaign. And the thing I like about it the most is that it brings in elements from Gears of War 2's storyline. Because when he Gears of War 2, you're focused on finding Dom's wife. Yeah. And you find her and all of a sudden she becomes decrepit and dies. And he goes off and goes crazy. And you can see in Gears 3 that he's even in his character, his hair is really long, his beard, he's let himself go. He's okay. Cause
he's really affected. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's really impacted him. And then when he's about to drive, he's like, you see this, Maria?
Yeah.
He's
never thought it would end like this on
Maria. And it's and when that hits you, you're like, oh my god, this is a man that's wanting to do this.
Yeah, they play the music, the Mad World music.
I know, the sad music. That Gears of War soundtrack, sad.
Yeah, really cool, man. Yeah, very touching.
Very touching death.
I mean, another touching death would be, more recently, Tony Stark in Endgame, the final battle. He, Doctor Strange gives him the high sign. He's like, this is your one chance. This is out of the 14 million chances where we lost. This is the one where we win. And he's like, you got to go for it. And he grabs, he wrestles with Thanos, and Thanos thinks he's got the gems, and he's like, I'm inevitable. And he snaps and nothing happens. And then it's Tony Stark, and he's there. He's like, I go, yeah? Well, I am Iron Man. And he snaps. Yeah. And then he wins. Actually, I think I heard it the way I heard it was that originally they just had him smile and snap, but they brought him back and they reshot that moment where he says, I am Iron Man, and they had him say I am Iron Man and stuff like that.
That's better.
Yeah, and that moment could only be what it was after 10 years of living with this character and seeing him kind of go through his journey and stuff. And he's been in how many of the Marvel movies has he appeared in? 7 or 8, And that's the moment where he does the ultimate sacrifice,
Yeah, finally says that.
Yeah.
And he actually dies, right?
He actually dies. Yeah, it's so hard on his body doing the thing because he's a normal human. It's only the suit that gives him the ability to handle that kind of power.
He's just a rich guy. He's like Batman.
Yeah, he's just a dude. He's rich. That's a superpower.
Yeah, it's a superpower.
Yeah, and then they have his death scene where he doesn't really even say anything. Spider-Man, Tom Holland comes to him and he's like, I'm sorry, and he's like, we're going to be okay. And then Pepper Potts comes and stuff. And she's like, it's okay. You can rest now. You can stop, and he just, I think he only says Pepper, and then he just dies, Pepper. Yeah. And then they have the whole funeral stuff. And who's that kid?
Remember any of this. I remember seeing Avengers in theaters. I do not remember any of this.
Really?
Yeah.
You weren't emotionally scarred like I was?
I don't know, man. I got to rewatch all of these.
It's
Avengers.
So good. I mean, we'll see what they do in the future, but in terms of the way that they led up to that moment, my hat's off to got Kevin Feige and the Russo brothers and stuff to orchestrate that. Yeah, man.
A lot happened.
It's 2.5, 3 hours long, man. What else, man? What do you think?
Oh, here's a good
touching
one.
death, fun death, stupid death,
awesome death that I wish I was involved in. One of my top 3 movies is Inglourious Bastards.
Gotcha.
So the scene where they're up top and
in
they
the theater,
kill Hitler.
They actually kill Hitler. That was so surprising when that happened. I'm like, wait, this is what?
They're like, this is a documentary? This is how it actually happened? I love that movie. Not to mention when he's like, they have the little one-rigged punching guns.
Yeah, they got right in here, and they slap him.
He goes up, he's like, champagne. And then he just punches him and busts a hole, and the other guy comes running out of nowhere. He's like, you got to get there, man. Yeah. And then they just pick up the MP40s, and they just go up
and
there.
they're suicide bombers. They got that on their ankles.
Die.
Yeah.
They were like, this is it.
Yeah.
This is we are going to die,
this
but we're
going to
kill as many Nazis as we can on the way out. And I love they're just dumping an entire mag into Hitler's face.
It just shows his face. That's classic Quentin Tarantino.
That
graphic violence
is just also the Bear Jew. That's
the
a great
Bear
kill.
Jew, good old Eli Roth.
Fuck you and you Jew dogs. And he's like, okay.
Swing away.
Well, we were kind of hoping you would say that.
Yeah. You're probably going to want to take off that uniform someday, aren't you?
Yeah.
Carving into
we'll give you
his
something that you can't take. Yeah.
Great death.
That movie's awesome. There's so many good deaths in there. I mean, even when they're introducing Hugo Stiglitz.
Oh, yeah.
The German that they want to recruit because he's famous for killing a bunch of officers. And like when they're
Oh.
reenacting, he like puts the pillow over his face and just starts stabbing the pillow with with a K bar.
That's right.
Hugo Stiglitz, big fan of your work. Yeah,
That's awesome, man.
That entire movie is awesome.
Yep.
So I had to mention that Hitler scene is so fun.
Yep.
And just watching their Nazis burn alive too is also a good time.
Always a good time watching
Always,
Nazis
yeah.
burn.
That's good. What do you got, man?
Well, I want to keep it really touching and World War II era. So, Captain Miller's death at the end of, so many touching deaths because you spend the entire movie with this squad as they go to save, Matt Damon. And at the very end, and it sucks because, they're across the bridge.
Yeah.
He's trying to go for the detonator, and the guy that shoots him is that German guy that they let go earlier that also kills Private Millish, the Jewish guy.
Oh,
yeah,
say,
Betty Grable,
you
No,
see?
not that guy?
That's the big confusion.
Oh, it's
there's
not
a
him?
Big confusion.
Oh, okay.
Like the guy, I thought it too.
I gotta watch this
originally.
movie again.
Upham, right? The worst human that ever
Right,
exists.
yes, the worst soldier ever.
Yeah, the one that everybody wants to kill when he lets that guy go. I don't think that's the same German that they let go.
Okay, all right, well,
I think he just goes at the end. You know how he ends up shooting that guy?
Yeah.
I think he's just like, I have to kill you because you killed one of my guys.
Yeah, he's like, I have to do something.
Yeah, but it wasn't the guy he let go. I think that was a big confusion in the movie because they look so similar.
Those Germans, they all look the
Those
same.
Germans, they all look the same.
But anyway, the fact that Tom Hanks and I got this impression. I don't know if they meant to do like a kind of a head fake in the beginning of the movie, but I got the impression that the old guy was Tom Hanks.
I got that impression.
But then you realize they do the aging thing. You realize it's Matt Damon's character because Tom Hanks is there and he's like, earn this. And what other thing? Thanks a lot, Captain Miller. Way to put something on a guy for the rest of his life. Earn this. Earn the sacrifices. And then he's like, have I been a good man? Have I lived a good life?
Exactly.
Like,
the grave he's visiting is Captain
Miller's. Yeah.
Yeah. That's crazy. When he just has in 1911 and the Panzer Shrek is coming across.
I think the reason that I think that was Spielberg's intention, but I think the reason is because it goes from the old guy's face to Captain Miller's face at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
And you assume it's him.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
I think he meant to. It was a little trickery on Spielberg's part.
Yeah. It's good. It's solid. I just like that scene when they transition and they're on the boat and everybody's puking and that guy just puts in a giant piece of chalk.
Yep.
And I'm just like, oh my God. If you don't like Big Red, then fuck you.
I love it, man.
Dude, yeah. It's
that's why that movie's a classic. It always will be.
It'll go down in history, and I know we've mentioned it multiple times. And we will continue to do such. You cannot stop this train. Saving Private Ryan will go down in history as one of the greatest war movies ever to be created and released.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's time. It's time to move on to the most touching death in all of cinematic history.
I know. And we'll be honest. We edited this because we had to watch the trailer again, and me and Izzy are in tears right now. It's so good!
It's so good, man.
It's so good. And that death is the Iron Giant. Yes, people, we said it. The Iron Giant, the cartoon.
Yep.
Is it a Disney? No, it's not.
No, I don't think it was a Disney movie. No.
It's just a cartoon.
No, it's a cartoon movie. A cartoon made by Clark. But it had like that old style. It was like it was like what 1940s, 50s kind of era. So Cold War era, like design, like classic sci-fi. His design of his body is like classic 1960s, 70s sci-fi films. 50s,
he's just sheet metal and bolts.
Yeah, and he befriends the kid, and at the end they fire a nuclear rocket. At the giant, but he's going for the giant. The giant's standing right there in town, so everybody in the town
everyone's like, "We're gonna freaking die!"
Yep. And then so the giant, he ends up basically sacrificing himself, and it's just so.
And he tells the kid because originally I remember he tells the kid he's like, "You stay, I go, no following."
Yeah.
And then it's because the kid said that to him when they first met, when he's like putting him in the shack and hiding him. Yep. And he told him that, and oh man.
And he's going up towards the rocket, and you hear the voiceover as the little kid. He's saying, "You can be anything you want to be."
Yeah.
And he says, "Superman."
He says, "Superman." Because he loves Superman, and he kills himself for everybody. That was sad. What a tearjerker.
Voiced by none other than
Mr. Family himself.
Mr. Dominic Toretto.
Toretto. Vin Diesel. That you just told me that. And I was like, what? Man.
He's done a couple. He's done Groot.
Yeah.
And something tells me that Vin Diesel's like a big nerd. He's probably at home playing video games. Like he'll do his workout, but he's like gonna go play video games
He's a
for the
very
rest of the
intriguing
night.
individual. Do you follow him on social media?
No.
I had to stop because he posts some weird stuff.
Uh-oh.
So he's probably, I don't know his deal.
Okay.
But
I don't follow him on social media. Maybe I should.
You should. It's weird. He just posts some uncomfortable like selfie videos, and his like nipple is just chilling in the corner.
Oh.
But it's weird. But
Something for the
dude,
masses.
that's a solid death.
Dude.
I mean, a sad one.
There's something about, I mean, we could probably do a whole episode on self-sacrifice because that's very much like, I mean, the idea of being in the military, you give up something of your life to go and serve a higher purpose.
Exactly.
And the ultimate sacrifice is ultimately giving your life. You know? So I've always been really touched, genuinely.
Oh, you want to hear me cry like a little baby? We can talk about it, dude. Oh man, I will weep. I will weep like a bar maiden.
Really, just
That's a good one.
Yeah, amazing. Okay, I got a couple more memorable deaths. Like I got a theme death from 2 different movies, and that's Death by Rocket, close range rocket. You've got The Rock, Sean Connery, Nick Cage, and the bad guy Tony Todd, also known as playing Worf's brother Kern in Star Trek Deep Space Nine, and also as an older Jake Sisko in the episode The Visitor. Go and watch it. But actor Tony Todd, Nick Cage, he's standing next to a rocket, and he's like, "Do you like music? And he's like, "What about Rocket Man?" And he's like, "I don't listen to that soft stuff." He's like, "Well, that's you. You're him. You're Rocket Man." And he presses the fire button, and it jams him in the chest and fires him out the window and explodes.
Oh my god,
that's so cheesy.
Nick Cage movies are awesome. The bees, not the bees.
Oh
man,
Nick Cage has just become more and more of himself as the years have gone by. And then the other one is the other rocket themed death is from True Lies with Arnold Schwarzenegger, where he's got the bad guy from the Crimson Jihad on the side of the Harrier jet, and his harness is hooked onto the rocket.
And
he looks at him and says, "You're fired."
And he pushes and goes, shoots the rocket. He's attached to it.
Yep,
That's
such
gnarly.
a good show. Now those are the more light that's the theme rocket death. One more I want to talk about. And I don't know if many people know about this one, but at the old show Tales from the Crypt, right? Anthology series, real dark, always something to do with like real twisted or supernatural or whatever. Crypt Keeper,
it's like a horror Twilight Zone.
Exactly. Yeah, horror Twilight Zone. There's an episode called Yellow, and it stars Kirk Douglas, and I think I actually got maybe his grandson or one of his sons to actually play his son in the show. So it's World War I. Kirk Douglas is a general in the American Army, and then his son is like a lower private, but his son is like he's not a very brave guy.
He's a coward.
He's a coward, yeah. And he's like, he's
an Upham.
That's right. He is an Upham. He's the Upham prototype, And so he's like, look, you're going to go out on this mission. And he sends him out, and he's like kind of the scout for this one squad that's going up to investigate this area. And they say, you tell us if anybody's coming. Well, they go up to investigate, and then a German unit comes in, and they're creeping up on him, and he has a chance to say something, but he doesn't because he's afraid and doesn't want it. And then his unit gets totally taken out, and he runs back to the lines. And he gets there, and he's telling his father, he's like, look, I'm sorry, I did all I could. And, they just got taken out, and I'm the only one to survive. And then one of the survivors from the squad, I think it's Lance Henriksen, comes in. He's like, this guy left us. He could have said something, but he didn't. And then he like dies and like, you are a coward. We're gonna execute me. Yeah, by firing squad for cowardice. And so he's sitting in the jail the night before, and his father comes and he's like, look, I can't let them kill my son. And so here's what we're gonna do. I am in charge of loading the rounds into the magazines for the firing squad. And I'll load blanks. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a pack prepared for you kind of in the pit where your body's going to fall after so you give a fake death, and then, you grab that pack after we kind of march out of here and you go back to the lines.
Yeah.
He's like, wow, thanks, Father. I really appreciate that. He's like, but listen, son, I want you to do me a favor. I want you to die like a man. I want you to stand up there proud.
Die with dignity.
Die with dignity. He's like, don't let him see any cowardice, because I know that you aren't really a coward at heart, He's like, okay, I can do that. So the next day comes and he's up there and he gives this great speech and he says, I'm really sorry. I neglected my duty and I deserve what I get. And I'm sorry I disgraced you and my father in the army and stuff. And everyone's like, oh, wow, it's really wild, So he looks behind him. Very manly. Yeah, very like stoic, and he does no blindfold, no cigarette, and he looks down at the pit and the pack's there, So he's like, all right, I'm good to go. And then as they get the line up there and he goes, ready. aim. And he sees Kirk Douglas, his father, and his father kind of closes his eyes and looks away. And he realizes, like, oh my gosh, there's not blanks in those, but it's too late. And they fire at him. And he just gets totally ripped apart. And he falls into the pit and he like dies and they're looking at him. And one of the other guys, I think it's like, I forget his name from Ghostbusters. Anyway, not important. One of the other guys says, hey, sir, if you don't mind me saying so, your son died like a man. And he says, yeah, my son is not yellow. He's not a coward,
Yeah.
And they walk off. So his father totally got him to stand up there and be proud.
Yeah, he's like, this is my reputation.
Yeah, exactly. Yep, exactly.
I'll have to check that one out, man.
So good.
My son is not yellow. When you said yellow, all I kept thinking was Coldplay.
And they were all yellow. It used to mean, yellow, old-timey language used to mean coward.
Oh, really?
Nothing but a yellow belly.
Oh, yeah.
Yellow belly, lily-livered, summer sucker. I don't know.
Yeah, just combined acronyms.
Yeah.
But that's a good one, man.
Yeah.
That's a fucking solid one.
Good one to end off. So
Yeah.
why don't we play
ready
a little
for it?
game? Oh, are
think
you
we're-
are you ready?
Are you ready
We
for
don't do very good track record for the last couple games. So.
No, we don't. We have to really. We gotta recover on this one. Let me tell you. All right. So today's game is called Death by One-Liner.
I'm excited.
I know, me too, man. So
Because that's 25% of every show we do is just us quoting lines back at each other.
There's about 100% of my military time too was doing this exact thing. So I think you'll do really well in it. I'll take you through it. I'm gonna be the one calling out the one-liners. And
Okay.
for those of you listening, shout it out in your car. Even though I can't hear what you're saying, you're probably wrong.
You're
but
all in your cars right now. We know you are.
Everyone's in the car at all times. That's the only place, and it's the only time you listen to podcasts is while you're driving. Here we go. These are all Arnold Schwarzenegger one-liners, as they should be.
Noted.
And the purpose of this game is to tell me what movie
Oh, what movie?
they are.
Okay, I got you. Well, I will anyway. I will tell you, and I'll tell you year it came out, who else started it. I'll tell you what
Okay.
came before it and after.
I would not expect anything less from you. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
Let off some steam, Bennett.
I'm gonna kill you, Joe Matrix. Yeah, it's from Commando when he impales
With the
Bennett
pipe.
with the pipe.
What a pipe
in
hitter,
the steam room.
That's good.
Like in Clue.
Yeah, it's the Bennett meat chunk
the
spitball.
the missing meat chunk.
Exactly. And don't worry, I'll do my best Arnold impression, which is
You better.
very subpar.
You got to honor
Okay.
the Arnold.
You ready for the next one?
Yeah, let's do it.
You're fired.
It's funny because I think we recently talked about this one. I can't remember if it was this one or the next one or last. No, it was this one. We just True Lies.
Okay, there
He's
you
in the
go.
Harrier jet. The guy's harness hooks on the missile.
Yeah, and he sends the missile
Sends
and
him
it blows
flying.
up.
It's the famous rocket death.
It's perfect. Okay, we're gonna keep it going. Since you're on a roll right now.
I got this.
Okay, I think the name. Okay, you ready?
Mhm.
See you at the party, Richter.
Richter?
Is it
Richter.
Richter.
Yeah, that's him and Michael Ironside fighting on the elevator in Total Recall.
That is
I almost
correct.
said Total Recoil, not to be confused with.
That is correct.
That's awesome, man.
You're 3 for 3.
He gets his arms chopped. He's hanging over the side of the elevator, and the wall comes up, and he chops his arms off, and then he throws his arms after and says, "See you at the party, Richter."
Oh my god. Okay, here we go. Next one. Consider that a divorce.
Oh man, also from Total Recall.
Wow,
yeah,
you're good at
Sharon
this.
Stone. She's like, honey, he's got her kind of dead to rights, and he kind of puts the gun down. And she's like, honey, I'm your wife, and she's grabbing for a knife, and then she shoots her in the head right as she's about to strike. He's like, consider that a divorce.
Oh my.
Yeah. And then Mila comes along. She's, that was your wife? She was a real B word.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you're crushing this, man. I'm having fun just listening. All right, next one. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, want to be a farmer? Here's a couple of acres.
Whoa, wait a second. That does not ring a bell. Oh my gosh.
I might not be saying it right because I don't recognize it at all.
Yeah,
I've
hey,
never actually even seen.
You said it exactly right, Cam.
There's a couple of acres.
That was dead on.
Whoa,
Good.
that's not ringing a bell. That's really surprising. I pride myself on my Arnold Schwarzenegger knowledge. This better not be from Jingle All the Way, because that's the one movie I have not seen.
You haven't seen Jingle All the Way?
No, man. No.
Oh, that's a good one.
this didn't-
Sinbad?
Yeah, I know. I was always a fan of Sinbad back in the day, but like, anyway. Yeah, that doesn't ring a bell, man. Say it one more time.
Okay. Hey, want to be a farmer? Here's a couple of acres. Now I'm going like, I don't know, Swedish.
Now you're doing like a German, discotheque guy.
Sorry.
Hey there, boy. Hey there, pretty boy.
Pretty boy.
I don't know, man. That I'm drawing a complete blank. I'm gonna kick myself if I have seen this movie.
Okay. Are you giving up?
I give up.
All right. It's from The Last Action Hero.
Oh man, you're right. I have seen it, but it's been a long time.
Okay. And just to clarify, the guy doesn't die. He just gets kicked in the balls really hard.
Oh, acres. Okay, okay, I got you. I should have known because they make fun of him being an action hero in the movie, so that he has really bad cheesy one-liners.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So it's a movie based off cheesy one.
Yeah, it's about a kid. He gets a magical ticket, and he gets into a movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger starring in, and then they bring him out. And Arnold Schwarzenegger's in the real world, and it's about like how all the stuff that he does in the action movie doesn't work in real life.
Oh, really?
Like I think he like breaks a glass, punches through a glass. He's like, wow, that really hurt. He's like, hey, you can't just punch through glass, He's like, but I do it all the time.
I do it all the time in this movie.
Yeah, it's the very beginning of the movie. The kid's watching Jack Slater 3.
Yeah.
Arnold Schwarzenegger's Jack Slater, and that's what he does. And it's a SWAT guy that's standing in his way, and he's like, "You can't go in the building." And then he says that line to him, and then he kicks him in the balls, and he flies off the screen.
Oh my god!
Classic scene. Surprised you didn't know it.
Okay, well, we'll put that on the list of many I've had to watch after these podcasts are done. All right, moving on. This one should be easy. I think so. You are one ugly motherfucker.
Oh, Predator. Yeah, there you go. He sees the Predator. He takes off his mask. Yeah, I love it, dude.
That's good. That was an easy one.
Yeah, that was an easy one. I love that showdown at the end. The classic 80s action movie.
Oh man, see then this last one to finish us off. You've already said it.
I didn't know when I made the game that he was going to know all the lines.
Every single.
I didn't know that he was going to quote it before we even got to it.
I know. Before the podcast even started, you were like saying this to yourself.
I played the game before I played the game. It's very meta.
Exactly. So this one just for the fans at home. Here's Sub-Zero, now playing Zero.
Oh yeah, the Running Man. Oh, so good, man. Such a good one. I even like the music in that movie. Yeah,
dude.
There's a lot of commentary about media and perception and lies and truth and stuff. It's actually kind of relevant today, maybe. I don't know.
Relevant? I think so. Well, that's a different podcast. That's Izzy's.
That's right.
That's Izzy's
conspiracy
theory corner. But anyways, dude, you got 6 for 7. That was pretty solid.
Not too bad, man. Yeah.
Looks like you got to check out The Last Action Hero then.
Yeah, got to watch that a few dozen more
Absolutely.
times.
But that'll finish us off, folks. That was this week's episode of PCFM Podcast. We release a new podcast every Wednesday. We also have a YouTube channel that releases the behind the scenes and the unedited extended versions where you can see our beautiful faces every Friday. So take a look out for that. You can check out my streetwear brand, Kit God. You can find us on Instagram at Kit God Apparel, or go to our website at www.kitgodapparel.com.
Yep. And if you want to hang out with me a little bit more, I stream 3 days a week on Twitch. It's twitch.tv/myhappyself. Did you tell them about the Gmail?
I didn't. You want to go ahead and do that?
Yeah, folks. If you want to get a hold of us for the Pop Culture Field Manual Podcast, go to our Instagram page, PCFM Podcast, or you can write us an email, pcfmpodcast@gmail.com. We read those. We love getting your feedback and stuff like that. So please shoot us an email.
Shoot us an email.
And
cue
the music.
Oh, that's my line.
Oh, man.
Damn it.